All right, it's 6 o'clock. We'll get our meeting started, and I'll call the meeting to order. And Miss Willie's going to do the pledge, and Miss Lori is going to do the invocation. So if everybody rise, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come in the precious name of Jesus. Lord, first we want to just say thank you. Thank you for everything that you have done for us and everything that you're going to do. Lord, we ask that we can go into this meeting and be able to conduct business decent and in order. Lord, we ask that you come in everything we say and do. And we claim the victory today in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Ms. Knowles,
Here.
Mayor White,
Here.
Ms. Alderson.
Here.
I'll put in the minutes, Mr. Davis and Ms. Johnson are not here.
Okay. All right, we've got two sets of minutes from prior meetings, study session of April the 16th and the regular meeting of the 21st. And I know we've all had time, but any questions? And if hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'd like to move that we accept the minutes from the study session and other meeting as presented.
Thank you. We've got a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Awards, presentations, and appointments. Oath of office for Police Officer David Sublick. And this is a face you've seen before.
This is the face you've seen before. He liked it so much he came back for a second time.
After me, I,
Aye.
David Sublick,
David Sublick,
as a member of the Mount Pleasant
member of the Mount Pleasant
Police Department,
Police Department,
do solemnly swear
swear
to uphold the Constitution
to uphold the Constitution
of the state,
of the United States,
the state of Tennessee,
state of Tennessee,
and the ordinances,
and the ordinances
charter
and charter
of the city of Mount Pleasant.
of the city of Mount Pleasant.
I will faithfully execute
I will faithfully execute
my duties in accordance
my duties in accordance
with general orders
with the general orders
of the police department,
of the Pleasant Police Department,
to the best of my ability.
best of my ability. So help me God.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
I promise I won't try to go to school again.
David went to paramedic school and changed his mind.
Oh, okay. Welcome back.
Paramedic school's in his heart. That's what he did in the Army.
Oh,
Doing good until them bills started coming.
Glad to have him back.
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Completion review of unfinished business from prior meetings, ordinance 2026-1140. This is a public hearing and final reading. An ordinance to amend Title 18 of the Mount Pleasant Municipal Code relating to sewer use by repealing Chapter 2 in its entirety and replacing Title 18, Chapter 2 with the new chapter pertaining to sewer use.
So this is your sewer use or pretreatment ordinance. The purpose of this ordinance is to set forth uniform requirements for the disposal of wastewater in the service area of Mount Pleasant. This ordinance will be approved by TDEC. Once it is approved by the state of Tennessee, it's responsible for the enforcement of all federal, state, and local pre-treatment regulations. As you'll see, it's a very technical document. We've reviewed it last month as well. It's been reviewed and revised by BARGE and by TDEC already. It's also been preliminarily approved by TDEC. We'll seek final approval after the ordinance passes and is in its final form. The changes from the last version of this ordinance are highlighted, or they were highlighted last time. The most material changes were the removal of the actual listed numbers from the limits from table A and B. And there's a resolution on this agenda later on, and that resolution is where y'all are adopting those same limits that we were removing. So I'm trying to check and make sure that the right draft got in your packet, but we removed any reference to those tables in the ordinance and just said that they would be adopted by ordinance or resolution by this board.
Okay, any questions of Corey? We've heard this several times now.
Right.
All right, this is a public hearing. Would anybody care to speak on this? Please let the minutes reflect that no one cared to speak. That being said, entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept ordinance 2026-1140 as presented.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second? All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Ordinance 2026-1143, stormwater management. This is the first reading. An ordinance establishing a stormwater management program for the city of Mount Pleasant. Corey?
The purpose of this ordinance is to grant the city the authority to exercise management and general regulation over stormwater. It follows a state law process to grant y'all that authority. This is not something that the city has to do because you don't have an MS4 permit, but it gives the city control over standards for stormwater control, which would benefit the public health and safety. This ordinance is separate and distinct from the utility ordinance that we discussed last month. There are fines and fees that would be assessed for violation of this ordinance, and those would be used. The only added thing from last meeting was that we did add another fee for collecting CEC's fees for reviewing stormwater management plans. And this applies to new construction. So this is only for somebody else coming in and building something new, okay? And it makes sure that y'all have control over the standards that you want to put in place. JJ? Okay.
We discussed this at length more than once, and it passed unanimously, or not unanimously, but everybody on Thursday night was in favor of it. So, again, this is just the first reading. Any questions of Corey? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
Here, I move that we approve ordinance 2026-1143 as presented.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
second.
Second. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Monthly report from mayor. I'll be very brief, but not this Friday night, but next Friday night, we've got Final Friday. Is that right?
Yes.
And they're gonna have a cruise in connection with it. So, be a night to have. Let's just hope the first two Final Friday weather didn't cooperate too well for it. So, of course, this early in the year, it's kind of a toss up anyway. And then the last thing I'd like to add is everybody please have a safe and happy Memorial Day. It's something to remember. Monthly financial budget report. Schiffer?
I'm just gonna wait till the budget amendment and the budget.
Okay. Monthly report from city manager. Philip?
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, just a couple of things tonight. So the Pope Plain bid, I did get an email from them today. They're going to wait till next week to start the milling and paving because of the expected weather for the rest of the week. Just want you to know, I did order some downtown flags for our light poles. Hopefully they'll be in Friday to get them up for Memorial Day, but at least be there for the 4th. So 26 poles and flags that will be on the light poles. And again, reminder that we're closed Monday the 25th for Memorial Day. We will send out a notification about the sanitation pickup in the schedule. And as always, fire, police, and on-call utilities will be here.
Okay.
Last thing, I always like to do an employee spotlight, and it's Phil Southern this month. It's on the second page of the monthly report. Phil has been here since 2023. He is certified in residential building, plumbing, mechanical, likewise with commercial building, plumbing, mechanical, and is also a fire inspector. One thing, with codes inspectors, sometimes not everybody likes them, but he's always has a positive attitude.
Yeah.
If you know him. And that's my report for the month.
Great employee. We were very fortunate. Here again, I've said it publicly and I'll say it again, Phillips and Schiffer have done a heck of a job getting great people in great places. All right. Thank you, Philip. Special reports from other departments or committees. Wastewater?
Mayor and Commissioners, we discussed in the study session. It's not on the agenda tonight, but we do have a pump out at the 243 sewer lift station. One of them's out, the other one's operating. The quote we have so far is $22,506. It's within my threshold, but no action needed from you guys. We'll let you know that we're working on getting that pump replaced.
Right. Good. Is that all you got on wastewater?
Yes, sir.
Mount Pleasant gas report.
The gas report, the regulators from last month at our Case stations, low pressure, they have been put in. And then as far as the high pressure grant application submitted, we're still in the review process.
Hope that just keeps moving.
So
Any questions of Phil? All right, new business ordinance 2026-1141 zoning amendment. And again, this is the first read.
So the purpose of this ordinance is to repeal and replace your entire current zoning ordinance. It is a total repeal and replace because there were a lot of minor changes throughout the document, like, new definitions and typos and things like that. That would be too much to piece together in an ordinance the way we usually do. But the material changes or substantive changes are we added a new section 4.7 related to annexation. It just describes the process for annexation and mimics the state law. We added a new section 6.5, which creates a new residential district for large lot residential and agriculture. We added a new section 8.5, creating a PUD, which is a planned unit development overlay district. We added a section 6.1 amended section 6.1 R1 low density residential to allow accessory dwelling units as permitted uses in the R1 zone. We amended section 6.3 R3 high density residential by amending the description of R3 to better reflect the city's desires for this zoning district. Amended section 7.4 IL light industrial by removing certain permitted uses from this district so that this district has less intense uses and differentiates more from heavy industrial. We added and updated fees for annexations and for the PUD overlay. We amended the reference corrections, including internal section references, as well as grammar and phrasing updates to improve clarity and minimize misinterpretation throughout the zoning ordinance. Those are the little changes that I'm talking about that would be impossible to really highlight. We also updated the numbering to correspond with the things that we added and took away. We updated the tables and figures. We removed certain sections related to irrigation, landscaping, screening, and tree preservation. The entire zoning ordinance was in your packet. This does not change any designations. We didn't change a residential to commercial, or we didn't do any changes like that. There is an updated map that Chris has a link to that will obviously provide to you as well. So,
Okay.
This also passed Planning Commission on Tuesday of last week. They had staff go back and study it another month, so it came to Planning Commission twice. They had a public hearing last Tuesday, and it passed, and they forwarded this new text on to y'all. So
Okay.
that's where we are. Happy to talk about any of the changes.
Yeah, any questions for Corey from anyone on this zoning amendment? We discussed it at length at more than one meeting. Thank the planning commission for their work on it as well, because they spent some time on it.
Right.
All right, any questions of Corey?
Are there any people to talk about this agenda item?
It's first reading.
Yes.
Should it be a public hearing?
It's not a public hearing, but I think if anybody signed up specific to talk to this,
Did anyone
can.
sign up specific to talk about this?
I believe I'd like to have signed up for the public or to talk about it, but as a bill.
If you want 3 minutes, you got it.
I was not planning to be here this evening, so.
Please state your name and where with your address.
Lee Burks, 6758 Polk Lane in Mount Pleasant. And I'd like to kind of reiterate and maybe add something to what I said last Thursday night, just to make it simple and clear. In the work that they did towards Corey in developing potential language for defining what the R3 category would be, they gave options, and the planning committee selected one of the options. That option did not include what I consider the most important element that was given as options, which is land use compatibility. You've put in a PUD category. The strategy I understand is that you'd like to get better control over what's built and make sure that what you approve is built, and that's available only through the PUD process. So part of the strategy is to encourage developers to go through that PUD process. It's more time consuming. It's a lot more effort. They have to negotiate a project. And once they negotiate it, they have to build what they have negotiated. You don't have that option almost in any other category. So the PUD's been added to give you that capability. But if you weaken the R3 category, you make it easier, you make it easier for developers to get approved. You make it more difficult to deny anything because all the other stuff is just mechanical, infrastructure and so forth. The only way you can just say this 3-story apartment building doesn't belong next to this beautiful neighborhood. You don't want the apartments next to each other. If you leave the language the way it is, the only protection word you have is suitability. That is so broad that any attorney will tell you it doesn't mean anything. Land use compatibility is the only thing with any teeth. You have plenty of latitude to decide whether it's compatible or not. But land use compatibility is the important language that needs to be included. Every one of the things that were included in what they had in options are good things that should be in the ordinance, but you shouldn't leave out, you should put them all in. You should not leave out land use compatibility because you're tying your hands. You won't be able to deny any project that comes in based on location. You won't be able to deny any project based on location. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. As again, here again, Planning Commission's done a ton of work on it. Looked at it, 2 or 3 times before they finally approved it, so I'm comfortable with it. Any of y'all got any comments y'all'd like to make on it?
Is that something, Corey, that you've looked into?
We have. So when the planning commission originally asked us to kind of just look at it again. So we had proposed language that we presented. I didn't present, Will presented it to the planning commission. And with some citizen comment, the planning commission says, hey, why don't y'all go back and look at this some more just to see if there's other language you recommend. So we went back and forth with Will and Sloan and Philip and me and several other people to try to see what we would recommend. So we really, it's y'all's ordinance, so we didn't know what you would want to say. So we did give 3 different options, like Mr. Bork said, and they discussed it and they picked the one that they felt was most appropriate. I will say that I think something that we're misunderstanding is that, you know, the orange cards used to be section 4.7. It's now 4.8. That's going to throw everybody off. So we'll have to change the color and everything. But section 4.7 didn't change. So all of those findings of fact are still applicable. Like, you still have to say that it's compatible with the land use plan and that it's not going to affect, you know, it's not going to positively help one person and to the detriment of the community. All those findings of fact that you have to have are still in there. So this is just the description of R3. It's defining what would be appropriately zoned R3. So I kind of disagree with that argument, but again, this is y'all's zoning ordinance and we wanted y'all to decide how to describe R3.
So I'd like to ask Mr. Hunter back there, does anything Lee, Mr. Burke said, have any reflection on you? Maybe you want to think about it or anything?
I think Corey answered that very well. We still have to use the other section of the ordinance to approve things. And it has to be compatible with the. I don't have any concerns.
So I guess, John, I don't want to put you on the spot or whatever. But I guess what came up, here a couple of months ago, with the 247, guess some of us thought R3 was up there, was okay. So will all that still
Still has to go through the annexation process, because that wasn't even a property in the city limits. So it's got to be annexed first before you do anything. So it's got to go through all of that.
The overlap here is, so, when y'all were talking about R3 being appropriate. So it still says it can be adjacent to downtown, but it says, or other suitable areas. And so that's what we presented to the planning commission, other suitable areas. Then the planning commission said that wasn't detailed enough, basically. So we went back and we defined what other suitable areas are. And that's the change that is in there. And you don't have to make any change. You can leave it the way it was, or you'd have to send it, you'd have to make the change here, but
All of it were required to rezone the property to start. with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we don't ever rezone it to R3, they can't do it.
Right.
It all depends on who's on each board and what y'all approve versus what we recommend. So, because y'all have that last say.
Lots of check marks.
Mhm. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Good, Mike. I mean,
Well, I mean, I know what you're saying, you know, I really do. I guess, you know, Mr. Burke brings up, it could be a good argument down the road.
it could be. Y'all still have the final say.
Say,
That's right.
you still have the card to go by.
We have the cars to go by.
Y'all have the final say. Elected officials of the community.
But 2 people can say, I see it this way, 3 people can say, I see it this way.
And that could still happen just based on people's personalities and like, it's better than what we had.
Yes,
It's perfect. Probably
absolutely.
not. Should we look at it again another 5 or 10 years? Probably so.
And this is just the start of what we had said all along, that just to start looking at the current, what we have, because it's been 10 years plus since we did the last one. So we've got to start somewhere.
Okay. Thank you.
John.
Thank you, John.
But I just like to, I don't want to get into some of what we got.
I think it would help. I mean, if you can pull up the zoning ordinance on there and you can read the section R3, it's just a description, and see if that, when you read it all as a whole, I think it explains it. You know, Mr. Burke disagrees, but y'all can read it and see what you think it's appropriate. Hope you've read it before, yes.
Yeah, I do.
But this is the first reading.
That's right.
That's great. All right. Lori, anything?
No, I kind of had the same questions that Mike had. I'm gonna read through it.
Okay. All right. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept ordinance 2026-1144.
Again, this is the first reading. Do we have a second? I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I still got questions. I can't, I'm a no tonight.
What's
Okay.
the vote? Did everybody vote? I think we need.
Lori.
Yeah,
Said no.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So 2 noes, 2 yeses, so fails. Fails. You're no, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so 2 noes, 2 yeses.
Okay, so what's,
I mean, failed, it's over. Is that, I mean,
You can,
I hate to get into,
we've got another reading,
that's what I'm saying.
and that gives you another.
That's the reading.
He's saying,
Anytime,
he's saying
okay.
tonight, if it fails tonight, it's over.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
because we got
We
another reading.
got another reading. That's why what I'm throwing out
But that's
there.
what I'm saying, it's not failed, I mean, it is failed tonight.
No,
if it
it's,
fails, it doesn't move on.
it fills it as a whole.
You don't
It's already
move.
failed
It's already
now.
failed. Do we send it back to the planning commission or
That's
start
right.
over?
One of the people who voted no can ask for to reconsider. That's a procedural option. Y'all could make a motion to send it back to the planning commission or to change the text. I mean, y'all voted no on the whole thing. If there's one section that you're wanting to take out,
Read it.
you know,
But I would like to know more about the land use. So I would like to read more up on it.
okay. So would you like to make a motion to well, it's already been,
And I don't like going against our planning commission at the same time. They're there for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
although we have before. And
Um,
you know, I know John seems to be okay with the way it is, but I don't, you know, to me, Mr. Burke just brings up a good question, and you know.
I think a
just-
way to procedurally move forward is if Mr. Davis or Ms. Knowles wanted to make a motion to reconsider, you could reconsider and then you could ask to defer it for a month. you know, or you
Let's
could
do-
vote to send it back to the planning commission for looking at again. But like I said, the planning
Miss
commission has
Pam's
already
not- Miss
specifically.
Pam's not here tonight, so,
Right.
you know.
But the planning commission has already looked at this section. That was there's two things that they asked us to go back and look at. This was one of them. And it was at Mr. Burke's request, I believe, maybe somebody else. But, and the second one was the annexation process. So both of those things we did go back and look at again, made recommendations here. So, I think if you are wanting to look at it further, we need to go back and reconsider that last vote and then vote to defer it or make a motion to defer to the next.
How do we reconsider?
I'll make a motion to defer it to next month.
Okay, can you have to reconsider the last vote first.
I'll make a motion to reconsider the last vote.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Yes.
Okay, and then,
All those in favor? Aye.
okay,
opposed?
and now make a motion to defer if that's what you're wanting to do.
I'll make a motion to defer it to next month.
Okay,
Okay. Got a motion to defer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a couple of seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2026-1144 budget amendment for 2025-2026. Again, this is a first read. Corey?
Shipra
Okay.
has no comments on the budget.
So I presented, nothing's changed on the budget amendment since the study session, so the notes are still the same and they're attached to the agenda. Winter storm fund was a big expense for us of about $35,000 across the board, not including payroll. We absorbed all those expenditures within our existing budget. We did have to do an additional $200,000 transfer, so that's a big portion of the general fund budget amendment. But again, we were able to absorb that in the general fund as well. And then there was no budget amendments that hit the fund balance. But if you all have any questions for me, all the funds general fund's going to be okay, but we budgeted a deficit in the general fund this year because we budgeted almost $765,000 in streets. So we did budget a deficit in this year, so we will probably end up in a deficit in the general fund because we did pave 3 out of those 4 or 5 roads that we had said. So I think we did almost $600,000 in paving this year, including Pope Lane, Gray Lane, and Canaan. I think and then the utilities look okay except for the sanitation fund, but we'll talk more about it during budget. The rest, everything is running like usual. If you all have any questions for me on the current budget, what we are in right now, I'm open for questions.
Any questions, Shipper?
That's going to the new budget
This is right now.
right now,
Yes, this is us closing.
25-26.
25-26.
So per state rules, general funds and any governmental funds cannot over exceed what we appropriate them. So I do an amendment to make sure we stay within our means before June 30th, because we will get paperwork in July that's going to be for June, and we have to do.
Okay.
Audit requires us to do this, so.
Okay. I think I'm just trying to get ahead and say, thank you, David.
Not the budget yet. I was like,
Good
current
night.
right now,
Yeah.
not July, still May of 2026, not July yet, no. That's the next one.
All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
I move that we accept the budget report as presented.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
The budget amendment, right?
Budget.
Budget amendment.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a number of seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Chipper, it's your game again. Ordinance 2026-1145, budget presentation 2026-2027, and tax rate, first reading.
So updated notes, we should have all of you should have a copy of the updated notes in front of you. Red sections are what we changed since meeting with y'all on Thursday. It's just any changes that we made to the budget, but we made some cuts, not cuts really, but we moved money a little bit. We moved one street out of the general fund into State Street Aid, which was Bob Joy, which we were going to do this year, but we had to move it because we're already at the end of the year. We reduced the stormwater amount in the general fund from 387 down to 250. So that's a reduction of 130,000. And with asking for a full-time position, in the Parks Department, we completely removed the part-time position for the seniors that was originally in the Parks budget. So those are some of the changes we made. The proposal, the original tax rate that we are currently on is 1.69. That was a tax rate that you all approved last budget year. The reappraisal rate came in at 1.2426. The current year proposal is 1.4975, and that's, of course, like per our ordinance, the budget that I'm presenting to you is city manager's proposal. That includes all of the priorities that you all had from the strategic plan. That includes stormwater being funded at $250,000 every year. If you looked at the ordinance that is attached to your budget documents, I have created a stormwater fund, so it will be a restricted account where every year the money will go into that account. The only expense in that budget is engineering. So we can pay to do the planning that we need to do for stormwater, and the money that doesn't get used stays in that fund by themselves. It's not in the general fund. It's going to be funded by taxes, but the money will transfer every year into a separate account, separate fund. It'll become part of your monthly financials. You'll be able to see kind of like how the Parks Department is, how State Street Aid is. You'll be able to see where the funds are going on that fund without being, in a big fund. Like general fund is so big that sometimes things can get, convoluted in there. Not really, just, yeah. But anyways, it's good to have it separate. I like to have it separated out. So it's separated in the budget document. I don't know if you want me to go into the detail like I did on Thursday. I can.
I think you're doing good.
Okay.
I think I hit the red spots.
Yeah.
Do you mind hitting over the nonprofits of what they mentioned?
Yes. So nonprofits, we updated those numbers after the input we received from y'all on Thursday. Animal Shelter is 15,000. Murray Alliance is 25,000. Airport is 5,000. Main Street 20,000. Kids Place 1,000. Keep Murray Beautiful is 750.
Also, no shipper talked about the tax rate. So this is the reappraisal year in Murray County. So when values of property go up, taxes also, the amount of taxes paid also go up. So to keep that from happening, the city is supposed to adopt the certified tax rate. That's what that number is for. It's to equalize like the increase in the value of the property. But what we're proposing here is a tax increase. So the certified tax rate is tax neutral. The proposal of 1.4975 would be a tax increase, even though that tax rate is lower. So because if that's what y'all do, we'll have several public hearings on that. But like Shipper said, it's necessary to balance the budget that you were wanting to have. So I just have to say it is technically a tax increase.
Correct.
So
Yes.
even though the number's lower.
Darius, you got?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you two for y'all's hard time that y'all put in this to get this as low as you think that you can to run our city. I mean, although we would all like to be at $1.24, we know we can't be at $1.24. Because our overall total budget is right around $19 million when you include everything.
If you include the capital projects,
Yes,
but a lot of that is utilities.
Right, but I mean, that is the others, $5 or $6 million.
General fund is about
Yes.
6, but
Yeah.
this year is higher.
So,
This proposal is us trying to meet your strategic plan goals
Yes.
that we put in place, so, yes.
And the big items.
right, but you also
streets.
with Philip have cut some things back some to make this work. And that's what I'm saying. I appreciate what you did.
Yes, sir.
And I guess on Main Street, I won't let that keep me from saying a no. But again, as I said Thursday night, our citizens have spent $1,500,000 their money to do downtown revitalization. And to me, this 20,000, it shouldn't be up to our citizens. I mean, we can sit up here and say, oh, yes, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. But we got to remember This is our citizens' hard-earned money. Ours.
Anything else, Mike?
No, that's it.
Billy, you got anything? Miss Lori?
No.
Okay.
I was gonna add where Corey was saying, depending if we adopt a higher rate, we do publish a notice tomorrow. Well, we send it to the newspaper tomorrow to get it published next week to have a public hearing. So the next meeting will be a public hearing for
Public
the
hearing.
ordinance and the tax rate, which will be the June meeting.
Correct.
So if citizens have comments, they can bring them back. But like the highlights that we had talked about last week, I mean, we've got the streets budgets in there that we want to continue. We got the stormwater in there. We've got a parks funding in there to start improving our parks. So there is some big items in here that the fire truck, we need a fire truck by 2027. So those are some of the biggest items that we have in the budget, is just those ones that we highlight.
I would like to add one more thing.
Sure.
And, that's up to the citizens. A lot of them don't know how much their taxes are gonna go up, but they'll find out pretty quick. And if they need to complain, they need to complain. That's all I'll say. I complain. I don't do it.
Yeah, with it.
Yeah, everybody's going up.
Yeah. Even in other cities.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I say, it takes money to meet our budget.
And again, Philip has brought this up to a lot of you in the past, that when you look at the data of new development in the area, we, in a 5-year period between 2019 and 2024, we had 50 some permits. Is that correct? 59 or 50? Huh?
98.
98. And between Columbia and Spring Hill individually, it was close to 5,000 each. That's just new construction. That's not existing. And I'm not I'm not promoting any of that, but I'm just saying, like, for me, when I look at numbers, if each one of those homes, at 5,000 homes, is even paying $1,000 in taxes, that's $5 million of recurring revenue.
Yep.
We're a lot smaller city. I live in the city. Anything I present, most of it affects me too. So just as a person who lives here, I see the stormwater needs in my neighborhood. So when I put some of this stuff together, I'm looking at that too. I've done the numbers. I'm looking at, like, my neighborhood is going to be part of this. So
Everybody's is.
yeah, all of us live here.
Everybody.
So.
And we can't control what the appraised value is set by the county.
Well, I disagree with you there. $1.24. But anyway.
But,
We did try to, like we said, Philip and I sat down and looked, and we
Oh,
did make
no,
some
I'm saying,
cuts.
I appreciate it.
And we didn't make the cuts we made cuts in places where we could, and then we tried to move some stuff into another fund. Like State Street, we'd been using a lot of it for downtown. Downtown's almost done, so we were able to, like I said, move one street over, just move one of the streets that we were going to pay from the general fund into State Street aid. So that actually helped, give general fund a little bit of a reduction there. So
But we couldn't operate.
we're still doing everything we need to do.
We couldn't operate on the dot.
We would have a deficit
ma'am.
budget again. We already approved one deficit budget last year.
yes,
If
That's
we,
what,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We couldn't.
yeah, we would have a deficit again.
We'd have to make operational cuts.
Yes.
yes.
Again, thank you.
All right. I'll say one couple of words. I met with Shipper and Philip that Friday morning, first thing. And although I'm disappointed we had to reduce the stormwater number, but it was necessary to get us to a number. And this, at least, without having to add employees or do anything else, in 4 years, it's $1 million. And the only thing we're going to be doing in those 4 years is the engineering piece, more than likely. And in 4 years, we'll have that money, and we can start to work little by little to get this community and what's been plaguing this community for 100+ years, whether we realize it or not. It really has. Something we've got to do. I think everybody agrees that we've got to do something. So, that's where I'll leave it. And I, again, want to thank the two of you. I did Friday morning immensely, but I want to do it publicly because it took a lot of work, guys. A lot of work. All right. Any other questions of Shipper?
I will have a copy on today's agenda. The copy of my notes is not attached, but my the final document that we present, I usually attach my notes to it once I have all, this discussion that we had today, depending on what the vote is. I'll have a final copy at the June meeting that's attached to the minutes. That way, you all have my highlights throughout it's in my agenda minutes, so.
Okay. All right. Entertain a motion on ordinance 2026 dash.
On the first reading on this or no?
If people signed up to speak on agenda item,
Did anybody sign to speak up on agenda?
this one,
I don't
budget,
see anybody.
If
Okay.
not, Mayor, I'll make a motion in favor of ordinance 2026 1145 budget presentation for 2026 through 2027 with the tax rate at 1.4975.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Got a second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Shipper. Resolution 2026-21, pre-treatment and supporting documentation.
so circling back to where I started this meeting with the pre-treatment ordinance that we made the changes to. So one of TDEC's recommendations is that we take those, take the charts for the pre-treatment standards out of the actual ordinance and adopt it from time to time by ordinance resolution. So that's one of the changes we made. So the changes are accurate. They're in line with what TDEC's requirements are. We're just putting it in a different format by resolution so that we don't have to go through that pre-treatment ordinance every time one of those numbers change. So
Any questions? You none entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion in favor of resolution 2026-21 as presented.
Got a motion? Do we have a second? Got a second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2026-22, Spectrum contract approval.
the purpose of that resolution is to enter into an internet service agreement with Spectrum to provide services at fire station number 82. The term is for 5 years. The monthly cost is $425. This contract is before you because of the length of the contract. So it's the same thing we did at the community center a couple months ago.
Okay. Any questions on that? You none entertain a motion?
I move that we approve resolution 2026-21
Two.
as 22 as presented for the fire station internet.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2026-23, fire truck acceptance loan grant.
So the city desires to take out a USDA loan for the purchase of a fire truck. The amount of the USDA loan is $1.1 million. The interest rate is 4.625% for 15 years with annual payments. The city will need to issue general obligation bonds as security for the loan and would like Bass, Berry, and Sims to handle that like usual. The purpose of this resolution is to authorize the mayor to sign the USDA forms that are required, that will give all the authority set forth in that document to finance and purchase this new fire truck. Also to authorize the mayor to sign the USDA form 40-4, which is the assurance agreement where the city agrees to comply with all laws, federal laws. And then the last thing it does is authorize the city to engage Bass, Berry, and Sims to handle the bond. All of these documents are included in your packet. And this is also related to resolution 2025-47, where you authorize the city to apply for this, I guess at the end of last year.
Okay, any questions? It's needed. We got one going down. All right.
I just appreciate, that we're able to do this, with the budget being passed. And I don't know, Philip, which one that wants to talk? You? Chief Stewart.
Well, I mean, I think I'll bring Chief Stewart up because he got a lot of credit for a grant right after I become city manager. So let's put Chief Stewart on the spot.
Come on down.
I can talk about fire.
I'll talk about fire trucks, so let me have it. Let's go. Uh, So I don't know if y'all know the case with the other one. It's every day I go in, there's something, we keep tinkering just to keep it. It wouldn't surprise me going tomorrow and say it's down again. So this is a 2025 E1. Nice truck. I hope it's the one we get. Trying to get the 2025 sealed up so we don't get into the double alternators, the 2026 stuff that they're coming out with. We tried the new stuff when we got that truck and we seen how that worked. So that's where we're at on that. I can tell you a little bit about it. It's 1,000-gallon tank, 1,500-gallon pump. It's going to come with 15 air packs, 2 RIT packs. So stuff that's going out of date that we really need.
I'll just add to that, Todd. That's a good job, by the way. The air packs or the SCBA is the 10-year life cycle, and they're out. We got a grant in 1727, so that's wrapped up into this. So he's hitting the truck and that at one time.
Yeah.
So,
And a little bit of equipment will be coming with it. But other than that, that's about it. Like I said, you let me talk about this, we'll be here for another hour.
Yeah.
So I probably need 3 minutes like everybody else.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you and your crew do. Really
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you.
All right, entertain a motion to accept resolution 2026-23.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2026-23 as presented.
Got a motion, we have a second. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, general comments from citizens. Miss Katie Martin, I see that you have signed up and Mr. Dustin Kittle's here. Are you two here to speak on the same item?
Well, I was hoping to give Mr. Kittle my time.
That'll be fine. Mr. Kittle, if you'd like to come forward, you got 6 minutes. And if you don't mind, please state your name and your address.
It's Dustin Kittle, and my address 2279 Santa Fe Pike here in Murray County. And it's odd being here with not a standing room only group, because the last time I was here, it was quite packed. What I wanted to talk about tonight, I've been retained to represent Miss Wilma Duggar, and I think you know Miss Duggar, Mr. White. She's a lady that lives in the community here. Miss Duggar's 90 years old. She is what I would say the closest property owner to where this blasting is going on that's out where the new Tractor Supply would be. My understanding, the blasting has nothing to do with Tractor Supply. It has to do with the subdivision that's going in that was approved. It looks like it was approved maybe a couple of years ago. They've come back and presented some grading plans, and they've went through TDEC. They've went with the fire marshal. In tracking down the information on this, it seems to be that they are engaging in some activities that I would say are not just incidental to the construction of this neighborhood. And I'll give you an example of that. When I reached out and started communicating with these people, what I found out is you have on site there doing the actual blasting is a company called Cleary Construction out of Kentucky. They're actually have been retained by a company called Rock Solutions out of Kentucky. They've contracted with a company out of College Grove, Tennessee that's called Central Basin Constructors. None of those are even the developer on the project. We took pictures of this. They are actually crushing the rock out there. And I made a phone call, just asked them, could I buy some of that rock? And they were foolish enough to tell me that I could. So that tells you that they are engaging in a commercial activity out there, which is problematic. I listened to last month's meeting as far as what the city could potentially do on this. And I know that, is it Bledsoe Jones? Is that correct?
It's Jones, that's fine.
just Jones. Miss Jones had indicated that there is a Blasting Standards Act, and I will disagree slightly with the interpretation there. That Blasting Standards Act does limit you as far as it does supersede municipalities. And that would be in the situation, this is my interpretation on it, that would be in the situation if you tried to say you can't have blasting within, let's say, a 300 foot, because that's kind of what the state standard is. What it doesn't do, though, and there's case law that backs this up, and I'd be glad to provide this case law to you over the course of the next week. There's the Jeanette case that's out of Dixon County, and then there's the Tinsley case that's out of Grundy County. And what they make very clear is when you've got blasting, when you've got excavation, when you've got all of that going on, a municipality does not disclaim its ability to use its police power. And what its police power is to protect the health and the safety and the welfare of the citizens here. This is going to be, unfortunately for Mount Pleasant, I think a pretty major deal. When I went out and looked, and I've handled blasting cases, but that was like 20 years ago. I expected to go out and not find a lot of damage because you hear a lot of people, you'll have a blasting situation and the damage, you'll go out and look and it might be something that's just very minimal. And looking at Miss Duggar's home and the homes around it, there's significant damage. And to tell you like how strong these blasts are, I have had now 5 different people that have told me that it has knocked pictures off of their walls. The nursing home indicated it knocked a clock off their wall. And that's kind of another part of this too. You've got the nursing home that's right there. I talked with an employee that was there that said it's caused issues as far as the patients. It's a situation to where you can't necessarily regulate the blasting activity itself, but you can regulate the impact of what's going on. Part of that impact is the dust that's going on out there. If you look at the cars and the homes, they are covered in that rock dust, and part of that is because they're using a crusher out there. So this is what I would say. The city certainly has actions that it could take, and part of that is you go back to when this was rezoned. One of the requirements was that it would not impact the surrounding neighborhood. Another thing is when you look at that case that was out of Dixon County, what they ultimately decided was if it's a residential situation, yes, you can have incidental grading. What they can't go out there though and do is to crush that rock and to sell it and to turn this into what's in this case been 120 days of blasting. Some days there have been 5 blasts in a day. And so in that situation, what they've done is exceeded their ability of what they've been allowed to do under the zoning. I know it's a difficult position for the city to be in, and I'm certainly glad and anticipate, taking a leading role as far as trying to make this right for the property owners as much as we can. But what I would ask the city to do is to cooperate with us in that, share any kind of information, because I don't know that this blasting activity was disclosed to the city. When I went back and looked at the planning commission meetings, and when I saw them talk about the mass grading, they just talked about moving dirt. And again, when you've got 120 days of blasting, this has been going on since about February the 2nd. Can I have one additional minute just to wrap up on it? When you go back and look, you're talking about 120 days of this activity. That's not typical for a subdivision as far as just clearing it out. I did fly my drone, not over their property, but over Miss Duggar's property, just so I could get a look at it. And if you look, they have cleared that all the way out. They've got the rock piled up. And again, they're engaging in what is commercial activity, which gives you the opportunity, if you wanted to, you could call that developer in here and by all rights, I think you could shut them down. Again, I'm not trying to drive a wedge between you guys and the developer. I think there's going to be some things that we can do to maybe facilitate that, as long as the city kind of just backs us up on it and doesn't try. I'll wrap up by saying this. I had called the company out of Kentucky to let them know that there was damage on this. And I asked them just to take a pause as far as the blasting was concerned. They refused to. They said, we're not going, they knew they had complaints as far as this damage. They said, we're going to wait till all the blasting's done and then we'll go back and make everything right. The thing is, I don't know if they've got enough insurance money to make this right, because we're talking about hundreds of houses that are in that subdivision. It's going to be a major deal, unfortunately, for the city. And so I hope that you guys will take some action on it. And I'm, again, glad to provide the case law, glad to help in any way that we can on it. Thank you
Mr.
very
Kittle,
much.
if you would please forward that information to our city hall and we'll get it to Corey. And Corey, if you don't mind, just take a look at it, please.
Way to do it.
And you said you'd try to have it to us within the week if possible.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Jeff and Jennifer Hedrick, I think I got that right, didn't I? If you don't mind, please come up and give your name and
My name is Jeff Hendrick. We live at 3752 Booker Farm Road. I just wanted to come in today. I'm the new store manager at Tractor Supply. We're excited to be here. My wife and I have been in Mount Pleasant for a few years. We just wanted to introduce ourselves to everybody.
Awesome.
Let you know that I'm available for you for anything you guys need. Everybody here, let's say hello.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're excited to be here.
We're excited for you. Thank you. All right, Lori?
Well, I'm glad that we were able to hear from Dustin and his take on what's going on with the blasting, because that's all I get. It's questions about the blasting, so thank you very much. And we just need to just pray that we stay together and stay grounded so that we can do the best thing for our city. That's all we need to do.
Mike?
Mayor, I will say something, and I might say something if I do, or if you can say. But I guess me as a commissioner, my job is to look out for the citizens of Mount Pleasant. Maybe not necessarily for City Hall, if you know what I'm saying. And and not for the construction. My concern is that sometimes I feel like I'm failing our citizens when we don't try to do something to stop something. And Dustin, I appreciate what you're doing. I really do.
That's
That's it.
it.
Just like to thank all of y'all for being here tonight and move forward, make the city better than we found it.
That's it. I don't have anything. Entertain a motion for agenda.
I make a motion that we're done.
Got a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, hit you on top of the head.
Aye.
Aye. Hit you on top of the head.